tarot cuties, welcome back to another reading with me, the Empress of Fortune. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so excited to do this reading. This is going to talk about your zone of genius. So, quick little plug, I read this book. It is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He's a psychologist, and he talks about how people can jump into the next era of their lives where they are happy, feeling fulfilled, feeling satisfied in all areas of their life. And a lot of people do not operate in their zone of genius, but everybody has one. So I wanted to do a reading for you guys to help you determine what your zone of genius is and what is holding you back from leaping into life in your zone of genius. So we've got 4 piles here today. You can find the timestamps down below in the description box. You can also see which decks I used as well. And the first pile is the Kitty Kahane Tarot. So that's pile 1. Pile 2 is going to be the NYC Tarot. Pile 3 is going to be this burgundy and gold version of the Rider-Waite Tarot. And pile 4 is the Animal Totem Tarot. I am super excited for this reading. I just want to say thank you for being here with me. Do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys at your timestamp. See you soon. Bye. Hey there, pile 1. Thank you so much for being here with me in this video. Let's find out about your zone of genius. So we're gonna get our identifiers out first. I do have a timestamp down below for you if you want to skip over the identifiers piece and go straight to the reading. You're more than welcome to do that. The identifiers just act as an additional confirmation. Of course, if you use your intuition to choose the Kitty Kahane Tarot here today, then this absolutely can be your pile and you don't necessarily need the identifiers. But if you want that extra confirmation, I'm going to go ahead and get my lip bowl out, and we're going to get some slips that will help us to confirm that this is indeed your reading. All right, so let's see, Spirit, who's in pile 1 who chose the Kitty Kahane Tarot for the Zone of Genius video? We're trying to find out pile 1 Zone of Genius. Who is in pile 1 with the Kitty Kahane Tarot? While I'm doing this, you can go ahead and press that thumbs up to like this video, and you can subscribe to my channel so that we can be more connected. And whenever we're more connected, then that means that my readings would be more accurate for you. Oh wow, pile 1 is going to be a big pile already, I can tell. Is there anybody else in pile 1? Anyone else in pile 1 who chose the Kitty Kahane Tarot? Anybody else in pile 1? All right, let's do this. Alrighty, pile 1, let's see. We've got Beverly Hills, which is, of course, in California and Los Angeles, but that's also a song by Weezer, so you may know that song. We have McDonald's. Okay, so the way that these work is that they could have been significant in your life somehow. You could have seen or interacted with something on one of these slips recently. If it was significant in your past, that also could happen. So like with McDonald's, I wouldn't say like you saw a McDonald's recently because they're everywhere, but it might be that like you ate McDonald's recently, or maybe like you used to work at McDonald's, if that's like significant in your past or something like that. Sorry guys, my dog is here in the background playing with his little puppy toy. So like Beverly Hills, maybe you heard the song by Weezer recently, or that could be like your favorite Weezer song. Or you might have just watched like Beverly Hills Cop, something with Beverly Hills in the title, or maybe you live in Beverly Hills or something like that, right? We've got Barney Stinson here. He is one of the main characters from How I Met Your Mother, the TV show. He's played by Neil Patrick Harris. And he also recently showed up in How I Met Your Father, the kind of like reboot with a twist starring Hilary Duff. Here we have Linkin Park, so you might really like Linkin Park. You could have heard one of their songs recently. You might have just like been talking about them. You could have seen them like in an ad recently or something like that, or heard them in an ad recently. Elliot Page, actor. You could really enjoy Elliot Page's work. You might have recently watched something with Elliot Page in it, like maybe like The Umbrella Academy or Juno or something like that. Peanut butter and jelly. That could be a sandwich. I've also heard people say like so-and-so's feeling peanut butter and jelly as a way to say jealous. You might have had something peanut butter and jelly flavored. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sandwich. Anything like that. That could just be like your favorite type of sandwich, even if you haven't had it recently. Lights by Journey. That's a song. Roller coaster. Okay, maybe you really love roller coasters, or you're planning on going on a roller coaster soon, or maybe you just got back from the amusement park. Usman. That is somebody's name, but also I wrote this down from like the 90 Day Fiancé franchise universe. He is a Nigerian musician who has been on 90 Day Fiancé with a couple of different people. If you know 90 Day Fiancé, then you probably know Usman. But it could just be somebody else in your life named Usman. It doesn't have to be specifically from 90 Day Fiancé. And then also with 90 Day Fiancé on here, you might have you might be a really big fan of 90 Day Fiancé. You might have just watched it or something like that. We have here tea ceremony. This is supposed to be Chinese tea ceremony, but you might just have like rituals around your tea time. You could be doing like tea parties if you have young children or something like that. Signs by Snoop Dogg, Justin Timberlake, and Charlie Wilson. That's a song. I'm not sure on what I see, just say don't fuck with me. Good by Better Than Ezra. But I'm telling you this is a sign. Alright, Good by Better Than Ezra, that's a song as well. Las Vegas, interesting. Suitcase, so maybe somebody's going on a trip. You might be packing or unpacking your suitcase, or you could be like a suitcase salesman. That's funny. Nick Miller, New Girl. So New Girl's a TV show. Nick Miller is one of the main characters on there, played by Jake Johnson. 8701, the album by Usher. It's got a lot of certified hits on there. West Africa. I talked about Usman. I said he's Nigerian. We have Nigeria on here, right? So Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin. I'm even going to include Togo as well. Okay, up next we have Oklahoma. Okay, interesting. So that could be like the musical Oklahoma. That could be the state Oklahoma. You could have family from there. You might be from there. You might have just like recently passed through there or something like that. Thinking about moving there. Bluebird. This is a song. It's also a poem. It's also just a bird. So the song is by Miranda Lambert. The poem is by Charles Bukowski. And of course, Bluebird's, just the cutie little bird. Vietnam. Interesting. So we got a lot of like different countries and travel energy here. Lil Sebastian. That's from Parks and Recreation. He's a mini horse. Parks and Recreation is a TV show. Edibles, if you know, you know. I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole. Bon Iver, AUHEC. That stands for Ate Up All Their Cake. Alright, I'm getting called to say edibles, like, I don't condone drug use on this channel. Just kind of say it. American Horror Story Season 1, Murder House. So you might know that show. There are a lot of seasons. I think we're on like season 12 now. But I think we're going to stick pretty specifically to season 1. Anthony Kiedis, Remy Wolf. Anthony Kiedis is the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Remy Wolf is a musical artist, like a solo music artist. She has a song titled Anthony Kiedis. So either of those things could resonate with you. Anne Hathaway. I really don't know why I put her name in a box like that. She's a famous actress. You may know her from like The Princess Diaries or The Devil Wears Prada or Les Mis, stuff like that. Substack, that is a website where you can like subscribe to people's writings and stuff. Lose My Breath by Destiny's Child, that's a song. Of course, Destiny's Child, famous girl group. with Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle. Sex in the City TV show on HBO starring Sarah Jessica Parker. We've got Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender, iconic animated TV series. Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, for them to come out next to each other is wild. And if you haven't seen the show, you should absolutely go watch it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, love it, obsessed. But Katara and Aang are like one of the showmances on the show. They're one of the relationships that people love. Lobster, you might have like eaten something with lobster. You could work with lobsters. I know there's like something to do with friends and lobsters. They said like lobsters mate for life, which I don't think is actually true. I don't really know. The number 38 is coming out here. Interesting. So that could be like your lucky number. It could be your apartment number, your street number, your age, something like that. Mississippi. And then we've got hot yoga. All right, guys, those are our identifiers for this reading. If you didn't see one that really hit you or connected with you, then you can always choose another pile. But if you really liked the Kitty Kahane Tarot, which we're using for this reading, this could still be your pile. There could still be messages in them. So it's up to you. Use your intuition to guide you. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go write these down in my tarot journal. I'll see you guys in a second. Hey there, pile one. Welcome to your reading. If you didn't get a chance to see the identifiers, then that's okay. If you decide you want to go back and look at them, you're more than welcome to. This is going to just be the cards part of our reading. I am actually going to put the tarot to the side, but we forgot this one, Oklahoma. That was one of our identifiers that came out. That's funny. Okay, so this is the Kitty Kahane Tarot. If you chose this tarot deck, then this is going to be your pile. We're going to find out your zone of genius and what is holding you back from being in your zone of genius, okay? Just to explain a little bit, Gay Hendricks in his book, The Big Leap, I definitely recommend it if you haven't read it already, but he says that there are 4 zones that humans usually operate in. There's the zone of incompetence, where you don't know how to do something, you're not skilled at it. There's the zone of competence, where you have the skills to be decent at it. There's a zone of excellence, where you have mastered something, but it's not necessarily making you happy. You still kind of feel like something is missing. And then there's your zone of genius, which is where you are totally fulfilled in your work life, your home life. You just feel like you're operating at your highest level and you're doing what you're meant to do. So in a lot of ways, this could be like a soul's purpose reading as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these tarot cards to the side. We're actually going to use these to find out what's holding you back. And first, we're going to get our oracle cards out to help determine what actually is your zone of genius. So I pre-pulled these oracle cards here. We've got an archetype card, we've got an animal spirit card, we have some lunar cards from the Lunar Nomad Oracle, which is going to help us dive into the subconscious aspects of your zone of genius. This is an alchemy card right here that's going to help us with the tools that you'll use in your zone of genius. And then this is hopefully a way that you can make some money with your zone of genius. It may be like an industry or something like that, or a role, a position, a job. This deck here does have some cards in it that are not actually like career related. So I haven't looked at any of these cards. I don't know what any of them say. I'm gonna hope that there is some sort of like career guidance on the back of this one, but if not, we will just figure it out as we go. All right, so pile one's zone of genius. What is that, spirit? Engineer. Interesting. So we got some scientific people in here. This does not mean like go to school and become an engineer necessarily, but what it does mean is that you love to put things together. You love to take things apart. You love to parse and parcel all of these different things in life, and you really love to figure something out. You love how to solve problems. So light attributes here, we say ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. The shadow attribute here is reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. All right, so definitely being able to give creative energy and find ways to use it practically is going to be one of the anchors that we hold on to in this reading. I love that for you. All right, let's keep going. Your zone of genius for pile 1. What animal can help represent that? The snake. Ooh, okay. So this says transformation, concentration, self-awareness, coolness, instinct, preparedness, diplomacy, self-analysis, sexual intimacy. I'm really intrigued by the idea of diplomacy being on this card here. Of course, there are diplomats in between countries, but there are also ways of being diplomatic in life and in the workplace. You can help to solve problems between people. So these two together do not automatically to me mean that you are going to be, at your best at a desk all day, parsing out numbers, adding stuff up, trying to figure out how things fit together. But you could be doing that with human problems and talking to different people about how you can bring them together and say like, well, you need this and you need this. How about we put you two together because you're strong in this and you're strong in this other thing and you guys can help each other. So you might be really good at figuring out who needs who within a group and organizing people to help solve each other's problems, which is kind of how diplomacy works in action. So I love the idea of some of your strengths being the strength of the snake. I know sometimes people can have kind of a negative connotation when they think about snakes. Oftentimes it can make people feel a little bit scared. It can make people feel mistrustful, but I actually don't get that here. Snakes, they shed their skin every so often when they've outgrown it. And so this makes me think that you're the type of person who enjoys growth and change, and that you are able to leave negative and old habits or personas behind you that don't serve you anymore. And you're able to really gracefully move into the newer areas or eras of your life. Okay. Concentration, you could be the type of person who has kind of like a one-track mind. That is possible. Coolness, instinct, definitely people I think look up to you. And so that's why I said you could have really good people skills as well. And I think that you instinctively know how to fit things, like what goes where. And that can even, I'm thinking now about like interior decorating. You might know like just like what looks really good somewhere. You could look really cool with your style. You might be really good at styling yourself or styling other people or things like that. Self-analysis, you could help people perform a self-analysis, whether that is in terms of like their wardrobe or their home or what is wrong with their life or something like that. There's a lot of different directions that this could go, but these are some of the qualities that you have that would help you to live within your zone of genius. This is what living in your zone of genius can look like. Let's get this card out here. Woman 29. Interesting. This is so funny because I had a feeling this deck only has like 2, well, I guess technically 4, because there are like a woman of color, a man of color, a white presenting woman, a white presenting man. So there are 4 people in this deck here, but usually it's like an object or something. So I had a feeling that at least one pile was going to get a person, and I just think it's very interesting here. But women are often known for not only their intuition, but for carrying the culture. Women are the ones as mothers who pass down cultural norms and traditions and social ways of being to their children. And they pass down recipes and things like that. And so this is, and also often, I was actually just saying this to my mom the other day, oftentimes it's really important for politicians to be married and, especially male politicians, to have a marital partner, because that marital partner can be the person who kind of like smooths things over for them socially when the politician themselves makes a decision that maybe their constituents are not fully agreeing with, right? So women have this way of like smoothing things out. And now that I'm thinking about, we got Avatar: The Last Airbender twice in the Identifiers. We got Katara and we got Aang. And, I don't have like Zuko in there or anything like that, or any of the other characters from the Fire Nation really, but I'm thinking about that episode where they went to the beach. The 4 Fire Nation teens, Zuko, Azula, May, and Ty Lee, they went to the beach and they were like beefing really hard. They were arguing with each other and there was just a lot of tension. And the older ladies, I think it was like Lee and Lo or something, they were like, this place has a way of smoothing out all of the rough edges. And I feel like that's what women can do often for their partners, especially their male partners or counterparts. And even if you're not a woman, if you don't identify as female, I think that you have that ability to kind of smooth things out between people. So it's interesting that the diplomacy is like coming through. And I think that you're able to do it with a really astute eye, because we got the engineer here. So it's not like you're just, putting people together willy-nilly or saying things just to say them because you want things to try and keep the peace. You're actually doing it in a way that's like genuinely best for everyone. You can see what everybody's best interests are, and you can figure out how to help them to achieve their goals through interacting with other people or through different ways and means. And you're just really great at putting things together and helping solve people's problems. Okay, I think people look up to you a lot as a person of wisdom. You definitely could be very charming as well. I'm thinking about like snake charmers and stuff. And I know oftentimes people will call people a snake if they think that they're like a liar, this, that, and the other. And so I do want to acknowledge that, we do have like shadow attribute reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. In your zone of genius, I think you would be able to move past that. And even if you did have to, you would probably be able to do this without having to lie to anybody. But it might take some time to learn how to do that. You may have to, or feel that you have to be a little bit deceitful at first in order to do that. But I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that there is a way to help everybody without, being deceitful. And I think that you're going to figure that out when you're in your zone of genius, because that's probably going to be what makes you feel the best. Yeah, what else? I am intrigued by this guy's shirt here. He's wearing just like this shirt. It's blue collar. So this to me means that you're a hard worker. I think that you're a hard worker. You might not like to stand out necessarily. I do think you like to look your best. And I think that you like to help other people while kind of staying in the background. That could be part of it. Okay, you might be more of like a behind the scenes type of person, ultimately in your zone of genius. She's dressed so intricately. I am also getting something to do with like clothing and appearance and the way that people look. So that is an interesting thing that's coming forward. All right, let's see here. This is from the Alchemy deck. What kind of tools would be helpful to you in your zone of genius? We have Uranus. Ooh, Uranus. All right, so I actually want to read from the book on this one. Let's go ahead and see what the book says. This is number 8. All right, so we have here awakening, brilliance, individualism. When Uranus strikes, we are in for a surprise, not in the outer world, but in ourselves. What wasn't possible before is possible now, thanks to Uranus and its ability to shatter our preconceptions. This shift in perspective or identity brings newfound freedom and opens up dormant energy. For an alchemist, this may be experienced as a long-awaited aha moment or a sudden stroke of genius. Inventions and innovations, with the engineer here, that's crazy. Inventions and innovations are born under Uranus energy. This card may also appear to show us what is particularly unique about ourselves or another. That's what I was saying, is like you're able to find the unique problems that other people face, or the unique like the unique beauty that they may have, or like the unique skills and talents that they may have, and you're able to point those skills and talents in the directions of other people so that they can all help each other. I think that you're really good at seeing people's uniqueness and using that uniqueness to help them solve problems. I love that. A seemingly random or idiosyncratic quality may end up being the secret ingredient needed in the laboratory. The alchemist knows this radical energy isn't sustainable, and so the work is to show up each day whether or not Uranus strikes. They say that you could read the poem Ego Tripping by Nikki Giovanni, and you should start pondering the opposite perspective. This says, don't get attached to Uranus energy. It can lead to a restlessness or chasing of inspiration, always looking for the next best thing. Take its medicine as an occasional blessing. Uranus is aligned with the story of Prometheus, the god of fire. Consider his myth and relate it to your own story. In what instances have you been Prometheus-like? All right, so if you don't know the myth of Prometheus, basically Prometheus is best known for defying the Olympian gods in Greek mythology, stealing fire from the gods and giving it to humanity in the form of technology, knowledge, and just generally civilization. He can also, in some versions of his myth, be credited with the creation of humanity from clay. All right, so I think that this is very interesting, and especially interesting that they said, like, don't get too attached to it, and that it can be like a lightning striking. This also, I'm reading from Wikipedia for Prometheus. It says, Prometheus is known for his intelligence and for being a champion of mankind, and is generally seen as the author of the human arts and sciences. Okay, so I think that there's just a lot of interesting things here, especially with the idea of like bringing something new to the space that you occupy. Those kinds of advances in technology, they happen a lot now, but like over time, they are not few and far between, but like something that truly changes our world happens, every once in a blue moon. Like the technology that we have now is because of the creation of the iPhone. The creation of the iPhone that we have now is because of the creation of the computer, which happened, like 30 years before the iPhone happened, 40 years before the iPhone happened. Then before that, it was just a very different lifestyle. So there's so many things that can happen in the world, but being able to be like a visionary who also is able to bring practical ways of solving problems to the people is really special. It's a really special gift, and I think it's a gift that you have, and that in your zone of genius you'll be able to use a lot more often. And I think that you'll be able to kind of be like that strike of lightning for a lot of people. You may move through different circles, move through different places in the world, and so like maybe this is saying like people shouldn't necessarily get attached to having you around, because it might be your job to help a lot of people, and so you may need to not be so entrenched in like one group versus another, but that's not going to be a message for everybody. But yeah, you definitely have the ability to like bring something new and amazing to the people, and I love that for you. Let's see what is on here. We've got perfection. Ooh, interesting. So here there's like a book or a planner or something, and it says progress, not perfection. Harper Mason. I don't know who Harper Mason is, but anyway. This says, give up your perfectionism. It's causing delays in your finances. It also says, you will never get ahead if you don't overcome the fear of failure. And you are enough and have what it takes to improve your finances. So your zone of genius, I think, is going to help people reach more towards perfection. Of course, there is no true perfection, but I think that you're going to help them find quote unquote like perfect solutions. Okay. Some of you guys may write books yourselves. Some of you guys might want to look back towards 2017 and think about like, what were you doing then? That might help give you a clue towards your zone of genius and how you can like be practical about it in your everyday life. If you're looking for maybe like a new job or a new career or something like that, that might be a helpful place to start looking. This also is acknowledging in yourself that like, yes, we are all ever evolving and we all are kind of our own projects to work on, but you should focus on progress and not perfection. Thinking about politics again, if all of the congressmen and women in the Senate and the House of Representatives wanted things to be perfect, we would never make progress because everybody has a different version of what perfect is. And so you have to think about like what's going to move us to the next best thing, what's going to move us along to the next best step. And is this a perfect solution? Maybe not, but it's going to get us closer towards that. And I think also recognizing that like sometimes the best way to get going with something is to just start. A lot of people, they want to wait until their idea is like totally perfect before they start acting on it. And that is what kind of keeps them from getting into the game. And I think that you're the type of person, if you have that issue, you need to start just acting on certain things and like learning more as you go, rather than trying to learn everything about it first and then go. Because it takes kind of a long time, and also it can be very discouraging. And also experience has a lot to do with learning. And I think that once you learn that, you'll be able to also help other people realize that too. Okay, so I want to get the tarot out because that's going to tell us kind of like what's holding you back from reaching your zone of genius. Let's see. Spirit, what's holding pile 1 back from reaching their zone of genius? What is holding pile 1 back from reaching their zone of genius? Let's see. The people who chose the Kitty Kahane Tarot. Pile 1. What's holding them back from reaching their zone of genius? All right, let's cut it. All right, we've got here the Devil in reverse. Okay, that's some like toxic behaviors, toxic relationships. Okay, what else do we have? The High Priestess. Ooh, intuitively you know what's holding you back. So there, like I said, could be a toxic behavior, toxic relationship. For some of you, addiction. I'm getting like very much like the monkey on your back kind of situation. Could be holding you back. Is there anything else? All right, let's see. Knight of Pentacles. This is either putting effort into the wrong places in your life or not being willing to put in enough effort in order to move forward. Okay, you could also be giving your money to somebody unnecessarily. You could be giving your money to somebody who doesn't deserve it, giving your time, your effort to somebody or something that doesn't deserve it. Okay, yeah, we've got here the Eight of Cups, walking away. So this is actually returning to something that you don't need to return to. You know that you're emotionally unfulfilled in whatever place this is, but you keep going back there for some reason. And so Gay Hendricks mentions in the book, The Big Leap, that there are typically 4 kind of bucket reasons why people don't reach their zone of genius. And one of those is being afraid of disappointing or leaving behind the people who, are around you, like being disconnected from your roots. Another one is worrying that your success could hurt someone else. This to me kind of speaks to both of those. You might have somebody else in your life who, if you leveled up and you reached your zone of genius, you would have to kind of leave them behind, and that thought could be really difficult for you. It might be really difficult for them. They might be guilting you in some ways or just generally holding you back in some ways, and you know that you're not emotionally fulfilled by your relationship with them or whatever it is, maybe your circumstances of living, but for some reason you keep allowing them to hold you back. The other bucket that I mentioned earlier was like success being a betrayal of your roots. That could also be the case here. For some people, you worry that maybe like your parents or your family or your neighborhood or your community that you grew up in would think differently of you if you reached success and you reached your zone of genius and you operated there. And like, especially for somebody here who is like so good at identifying people's special skills and their unique abilities and being able to like fit that together and solve people's problems, maybe you're kind of afraid of taking that role in your community or in your life because of what other people would think about you. And, you know, sometimes it's like, we don't want people to look at us and be like, well, who do they think they are? Like, who made them the queen or whatever, right? Who made them the king, blah, blah, blah. But if you're good at this and this is always something that you've been good at, then like that's a gift and you should be able to exercise that gift without feeling judged for it, okay? And I did mention in the beginning, like there might be some people who feel a certain way, or you might have to find maybe sneakier ways of doing this, or you might feel that you have to. I personally don't think that that's necessary, but if you feel that way, you know, seeing these cards here, I could understand why you would feel that way. But generally, I think that you are planting some seeds in the wrong place. and you might be caping for something or someone that doesn't really deserve your support. If you don't know what caping means, it's like you're being a superhero for somebody or something, right? So like, let's say that you're online and somebody is saying something negative, like about your favorite celebrity or whatever, and you go in the comments and you're like, well, so-and-so is so amazing. You didn't see what they did with their last project, and you know, the way that they chose that project was because of blah, 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 and like, who, you don't know what you're talking about, etc. And so you're just like out here defending this person. Like, you put your little superhero cape on and went to battle for them. Like, that person doesn't even know you. That's just one example, but you could be caping and going to battle for people who are really not worth investing your time in, and planting just bad seeds all around, okay? Harvesting things that you don't really need to harvest. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I want to go back to the tarot here. Okay. All right, let's look on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, on the bottom of the deck, that really kind of confirms what I was saying, is the Knight of Swords. Got going into battle, being really quick to go into battle and jumping to conclusions about certain things. Yeah, all right. Like, I think that you could also be in a very defensive energy as well here. So I want to emphasize that you have a lot of really amazing skills, problem solving skills, people skills. And like, with this being upright, this is telling me like you are very analytical. You're also very brave. You're also very interested in helping people and great with your words, and you're quick. You are quick-witted. You have like really fast way of thinking, which is like, we got that lightning strikes thing here too, right? So you have all these great qualities. I think you're just investing them in the wrong place. And I think intuitively you know that. Yeah. Yeah, but it just kind of seems like you're chained to someone or to something that is not serving you, okay? I know that success can be kind of scary, and thinking about leaving people behind can be kind of scary, but the right people will still support you as you develop your skills towards your zone of genius, okay? So just keep that in mind and use your skills for diplomacy for good, okay? I'm going to read this again. Ability to give creative energy a practical expression. Talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. I think that that just perfectly says it. And you seem like a very, not only thoughtful person, but like you have a kind heart. And I think that you have the ability to really help people. One of the goals for this channel that I have is like raising the vibration of humanity. And I really want to reach people who are able to do that. And I think that you are definitely one of those people who's able to do that. So I'm going to light this candle for you to help you manifest your ascension into your zone of genius. If you want to use it as a little prayer candle, you're more than welcome to. Spirit, please help pile one to find their zone of genius and to operate successfully within it to the best of their ability and for the highest good of themselves, everyone around them, and the world at large. Thank you. Love you, Spirit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this over here. You may also want to look back at ages 29 and age 8. Those could be helpful. You know, we talked about 2017 as a year where like you could reflect on that and see kind of like what you were doing, what you were feeling during that time. But if you're older than 29, you may want to look back at what you were doing when you were 29, what you wanted to do when you were 29. And that could be helpful in terms of finding like a career path or, you know, a way to work within your life that is satisfying to you. Not only satisfying, but helps you to thrive within your zone of genius. Or you could look at age 8. Oftentimes children, they really are very generous with their gifts and they will show their gifts. And sometimes we kind of get those suppressed or we kind of grow out of them, or it kind of gets a little bit too hard to keep doing, and so we don't continue them in life. But oftentimes what we wanted to do when we were younger is a reflection of like one of those gifts that could take us through to our zone of genius. So ages 29 and age 8 could be helpful places to start reflecting as well. All All right, pile one, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope that this was enlightening to you. If you want to leave a comment down below and tell me what resonated with you and how you hope to use your amazing superpowers within your zone of genius to uplift those around you, I would love to hear about it. And if you want to talk about, the things that are holding you back as well, definitely you can leave a comment about that too, as a little way of self-reflection. But hopefully I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much to my subscribers. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give me the thumbs up with the like. Love you guys. Bye. Hi there, pile two. If you chose the NYC Tarot, and this is going to be your reading, we are going to start off with the identifiers. So if you don't want to watch the identifiers, you can go ahead to the timestamp below this one labeled pile 2 reading, and you can just skip to the part with the cards. The identifiers are basically slips from this bowl that help to confirm that this is your reading. If you just, already feel intuitively very comfortable with this deck and with the reading itself, its energy, after I've posted the video, its energy is gonna permeate, right? So if you already just feel comfortable with the energy of this reading, then that could be all the confirmation that you need. But if you would like a little bit of additional confirmation, you're welcome to stay and watch the identifiers. All right, I actually really want to relight this candle. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna light this for all the people in pile 2 and just people who are watching this reading in general, so that they can reach their zone of genius, find their zone of genius, and use it to make the world a better place for the highest benefit of everyone involved. Thank you, Spirit. All right, so I'm actually going to put these tarot cards to the side for now. I do have some pre-pulled oracle cards. We'll get into those after we do these identifiers. All right, Spirit, who's in pile 2? My pile 2 people who chose the NYC Tarot to find their zone of genius. Who are my pile 2 people? While I'm doing this, you can go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to me. Who are my pile 2 people, Spirit? Who's in pile 2? All right. Yay. Oh, this is much smaller already than pile 1. Pile 1 had a lot of people in it. All right, pile 2. Let's see who you guys are. We've got Give Me Something Real by Ashford and Simpson. That's a song. So the way that these work basically is that whatever's on these slips could be familiar to you, could have come up in passing in the past couple of days in your life, could be significant to you somehow. So like if it's a number, it could be your favorite number, it could be your date of birth, your age, the number of people in your family, something like that. So for example, with this song, you might really love this song. It could be one of your favorite songs. You might have like a lot of memories to this song. You might have just recently heard this song in the past few days, or recently somewhere random, something like that. All right, we've got Caribbean Queen. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse. I knew this song was gonna come out because as soon as I was talking about this one, when I was like, you might have heard it somewhere random, I started thinking to myself about this song, Caribbean Queen, No More Love on the Run by Billy Ocean. I did not know this song at all until recently. And like, I am a music head. I'm a DJ. Like, I love music. I did not know this song until recently. And I heard it for the first time while I was watching Modern Family. And it struck me. I loved it. So I started listening to it a lot. But it's just so funny that this like came out, and I decided to put it in there because, it represents exactly what I'm talking about now. So as soon as I was talking about like, you might have just heard it somewhere and blah, 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 in passing, I thought about Caribbean Queen, and now this is the second one out. So I just love when like little synchronicities like that happen. And it also makes me feel like my intuition is like really on point. Toni Morrison, she's a famous author, mostly writing African-American stories. We've got Strobe Light by Little Dragon. That's a song. Strobe Light. Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. All right, we got a lot of music here. Living Single, that's a TV show starring Queen Latifah and several other people. Set in New York. Oh my gosh, set in New York. So we've got like New York energy for sure, because we have the New York Tarot, NYC Tarot. Nana by Trey Songz. Okay. That's a song. Lemonade by Gucci Mane. There's a ton of music in here. Okay, interesting. Drew Barrymore by SZA. The music just keeps coming. I guess let's find out. Let's see what happens. This one is Breakfast at Tiffany's. That is a movie also set in New York, very famously, starring Audrey Hepburn. Romance novel. Interesting. So you could really like romance novels. Maybe you recently read one, or you are a writer of romance novels. Maybe you like took one to the beach or something. Road trip. Interesting. So like you could have read a romance novel about a road trip or something like that, right? That's funny. Maybe you took a road trip recently or are planning to. You might really prefer road trips to flying or something like that. Wake Up in the Sky by Gucci Mane, Bruno Mars, and Kodak Black. So Gucci Mane has come out twice now. He's a rapper from Atlanta. I find that interesting. Swing Swing by the All American Rejects. This is a lot of music. Normally this much music does not come out. Costa Rica. So like you could have family from there. You might have traveled there or be planning to travel there recently. You might just be like, have been talking about it with somebody or something. Half and Half. That's a TV show about two half sisters who live in the same apartment building. Strawberry Ice Cream. Yum yum. So that might be like your favorite type of ice cream. You might have recently had it or something like that. Sassafras, Cypress, and Indigo by Ntozake Shange. So that is a book. We've got some Black literature in here, which is cool. The number 9, so that could be like the month of September, which makes me think of Virgo and Libra. And then you also like could have 9 people in your family. You might live on 9th Street, the 9th floor, something like that. Number 77, you could be seeing 777, 977, 779, something like that. This Charming Man by Stars, that's a cover of the Smiths song. I heard that for the first time in a Barnes & Noble, and I really liked it. So I actually don't really like the original version of the song, but I like the cover. Colder Weather by Zac Brown Band, that's a good song too. So yeah, tons of music in here. When You're Good to Mama, Queen Latifah from the musical Chicago. So we got Queen Latifah energy in here twice as well, from Living Single and from When You're Good to Mama from Chicago. Interesting. And then The Good Place, that's a TV show starring Kristen Bell, Jamila Jamil, and some other people. Oh, okay, so now I'm thinking about this, and part of the lyrics of Caribbean Queen, he's like, it even says it in the title, No More Love on the Run. And so I'm thinking about like love on the run, right? So you might have like recently read a romance novel where like the two people were on the run, like Bonnie and Clyde type of situation, or they're just running away from something. So I'm thinking of like True Romance, that movie. I'm also thinking about like At Breakfast at Tiffany's. Audrey Hepburn's character is kind of like on the run, especially towards the end. Yeah, I think that that's just kind of interesting. Like you could be reading like, or something to do with a road trip where people are like on the run, driving away, blah, blah, blah. I just thought about Supernatural for some reason, the TV show. I really don't really know like a lot of the plot of that show. I only watched up to season 4, but for some reason it came to me just thinking about Dean's car. Yeah, Dean's car, and like they're always on the road or something like that. The Good Place, I don't know if they're ever really on the run in that show, but I know that like Eleanor and Chidi have like their little thing. I don't know enough examples right now, but it just made me think about like love on the run, right? So yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Oh, okay, actually also thinking about Chicago, there are a lot of women in the story who like unalived their husbands, right? And could be like on the run, get caught, because of course, you know, most of it happens from the jail or like in the courtroom. That story, if you're not familiar with the musical Chicago, it's wonderful. They made a movie, and that's the one that Queen Latifah stars in, but along with like Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones. But yeah, like there's some kind of like Bonnie and Clyde energy coming on in here, or like yeah, interesting. Ooh, okay. And Zach Brown Band, Colder Weather, the lyrics describe a guy who is like always on the road, and so he can never really like stay with the people that he loves, and he is like not necessarily on the run, but like he's always on the go, right? So like no more love on the run. He can't ever really find the happiness that he's looking for because he is like a self-described rambling man. Okay, so I think that that's it. That vibe is definitely very strong. I don't know how that's going to translate to the reading itself, but like that vibe is super, super strong here. All right, y'all. These are our identifiers. If something stuck out to you, then that definitely can mean that this is your pile. Like I said, don't live or die by these, but if you still feel like pile number 2 is for you, then go ahead and watch it, and I'll see you at the reading. I'm gonna write these down in my tarot journal, and then we'll get into it. Alrighty, pile 2, let's go ahead and get into it. So the NYC Tarot is going to actually tell us towards the end of the reading what's holding you back from entering and thriving in your zone of genius. But we're going to leave that towards the end. Sorry for shaking the camera. I'm going to put those to the side, and we're going to get out some of our pre-pulled oracle cards that are going to help us actually identify what the zone of genius actually is. All right, so I'm really excited for this reading. I don't know if I explained this part in the intro. I know I did it in part 1, or in pile 1 rather, but in the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, he's a psychologist, and he basically says that most people live in one of 4 zones. That could be the zone of incompetence, which is where you don't really know how to do something, and so you're not good at it. The zone of competence, which is where you've learned how to do something and you're pretty good at it. Zone of excellence, which is where you've mastered something, and this is where most people, especially people who have careers or who have a long time at their jobs, it's most of the time how people operate in a zone of excellence, but they're still not necessarily happy with their lives because they feel like there's something missing and they feel unfulfilled. And what's unfulfilled is that they're not in their zone of genius, which is the place where you not only excel, but you thrive, and you are able to genuinely help other people through the gifts that you have. And this typically is from some sort of gift that you were born with, and you either have taken the time to develop or you haven't. So we're going to look into your zone of genius today and find out what it is for you. All right, pile 1 was really interesting. I'm excited to see what we've got in pile 2. All right, let's see. Spirit, who's pile 2? What's their zone of genius? Poet. Ooh, okay, I love this. So you are definitely an artist. I love that. We got in the identifiers, if you didn't watch them, there was a lot of music that came out. There were novels that came out. So definitely, I think that you have like a way with words, because, you know, often music has lyrics. Now, of course, not all music has lyrics, but you could have a way with words. You could just be very artistic. The light attributes here say expresses soul insights in symbolic language. And the shadow attribute is turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. So you definitely could have like the gift of gab, but let's say that, for example, you use your gift of gab to be like a salesperson and you don't feel fulfilled by doing that. Maybe you always like really wanted to be a writer or something like that. You know, you could be using your gift in your zone of excellence, but it's not in your zone of genius because you're not fulfilling it in a soulful way, right? So that's just an example. It doesn't have to apply to everybody. But I truly love this, and I'm so excited to hear more about this. The Poets of pile 2. Ooh, okay. We have here an animal spirit card that's going to tell us more about the attributes that you have that you can exercise in your zone of genius. Beaver. We know beavers are hard workers, and also like they build dams which help hold in water. Water is very representative of emotions. So you could be really good at containing emotions in a very special way, describing emotions in a very special way. Yeah, and like using your emotional reservoir in a very special way. I love that. Diligence, self-sufficiency, patience, motivation, progression, structure, ingenuity, and experience. Ooh. So this idea of experience is like really interesting to me because oftentimes I think like writers hit a writer's block because they might say like, well, I don't know if I have anything to write about, or I don't know if I have anything to say. You know, if you have a voice, you have something to say. And I think that digging into that emotional reservoir is going to be very helpful for you, digging into your experiences and figuring out how you can express yourself about those experiences that you've had. And I know oftentimes people who think that they don't have anything to say are just really not as in touch with their emotions as they could or should be. So I don't want to jump too far ahead in the reading because, you know, that could be something that's holding you back. But we're going to find from the tarot later on, like what exactly is holding you back. But beavers, like I said, very hard workers. They're very community oriented, even though it does say self-sufficiency. So you know that you can rely on yourself, and I think that you've built strength through being able to rely on and trust yourself, even if it's kind of taken a long time. With these two doves here, it's making me think of like peace, right? Patience as well. And love, you know. You might be really good at expressing your feelings around love, or your thoughts and feelings around love, or around the deeper emotions that people have. Yeah. Motivation, progression, structure, ingenuity, experience. And thinking about poetry, you know, if you took your high school English class, you probably learned that like poems, there are poems that are free verse, so they have no structure, there's no rhyme, there's no meter, which meter is like a literary word for rhythm, and like the number of syllables and the stresses on syllables that a certain line of poetry will have. But some poems really do have structure. They have a very specific structure, you know, like this, it's just like A, B in terms of like the rhyme scheme, or they have an iambic pentameter for the meter and you have to stick to that. Or like a haiku, for example, has to have 5, 7, 5. 5 syllables on the first line, 7 syllables on the second line, 5 syllables on the last line, or else it's not a haiku, right? So being able to fit within a structure but still express exactly what you want to express is like a true gift. It is a beautiful gift, and a lot of people find it really difficult to do that kind of thing. This may be something that comes a little bit more naturally to you, and if it's not, then it maybe was something that like you were gifted with but didn't actually cultivate. Okay, so I'm trying to keep from saying like what held you back. I'm just channeling what is coming through to me, but yeah, I definitely see that you have like the diligence to be able to figure it out, and also to kind of work through the harder emotions as well. Some people sometimes can shut their emotions off, or can stop feeling their feelings as a way to self-preserve. And if you faced that challenge, then I understand. You can also try and get back into it. Try and get back into feeling your feelings so that you can express yourself in a way that feels authentic to you. This is really a card about authenticity, finding a way to be authentic within the structures of society. So that's cool. All right, thinking about like music and musicians, you know, music actually has a lot of rules to it as well. There are only like, what, 12 notes or something like that, but all of the music in the world is made up of those 12 notes, right? So being able to use structure to like create something amazing or never heard before. And there's a lot of discourse out there about like, are there any original ideas at this point? Are there any, you know, and while some people may think no, I actually think yes. And I think part of that is like this mathematical thing that I heard from being a tarot reader. You know, there are 78 cards in the tarot. All right, so like if you were to do a factorial of 78, it comes out to like more stars than there are in like the galaxy, maybe even the universe. So this is like an infinite amount of ways that the tarot cards could come out, and it's going to be, I won't say it's going to be different every time, because that's the thing about synchronicity. It should be different every time, thinking about the factorial and like the probabilities and possibilities of how many different combinations the cards can come out in. But like when you continue to get the same card every time, it is because there's like a message that you're supposed to hear from it. So the fact that there are so many different combinations that the tarot could have makes me think that there are original messages. There are original things that and thoughts that could still happen in the world. And then like doing the job that I'm doing now, being able to combine other oracle decks and other things like that with the tarot does mean that there's going to be an original message that comes out, right? Even if it's just a slight variation from a message that happened before. You know, there are still original thoughts out there, and even if you think that you don't have anything new to say, I guarantee you do. So that was just a long-winded way of saying I'm rooting for you and you have something to say. All right, we've got here a Lunar Nomad Oracle card. It's going to tell us more of the subconscious piece of your zone of genius. We have stars. Yo, okay. If you didn't watch the Identifiers, you might want to go back and watch those. You don't have to, but you might want to. A song came out called Stars, okay? A band called Stars came out. And the song that they sing is a cover of the Smiths. It's called This Charming Man, but the band is called Stars. And I first heard this song inside of a Barnes & Noble. And I mentioned that in the Identifiers. And like, I'm thinking now this all makes so much sense because, you know, Barnes & Noble is a place for books where there are books on so many different subjects. All these authors have written all these different things, and we're talking about original thoughts, right? And it's like, you have something to say. You have something valuable to contribute to the zeitgeist, to the world, okay? And the idea of this being a cover, right? Like they're taking a song that was already written and doing their own spin on it. That was exactly what I was talking about before. It was like, even if it's a slight variation, it's still original, right? So, you know, I just want to encourage you that there is something for you to say, even if, you know, you are starting off with slight variations or like fan fiction or cover songs, or, you know, you're imitating a painter that you really like or whatever, or you're imitating a poem that you really like, you know, I just encourage you to find and to use your voice. I love this message. This is so exciting to me. I am just like obsessed. This is an interesting card here too. And I actually do want to read from the book for this one. All right, so this says wishes, hopes, possibilities, guidance, independence, dreams, expansion, and fame. Ooh, okay, interesting. The universe holds unlimited possibilities. What was I talking about? I was just saying that, girl. Okay. No dream, wish, or desire is too big and grand for the universe. You were born to be part of this magic and to shine your inner light upon the world. The stars are the constant reminder of that divine promise. Suspend your judgment, open yourself to all possibilities, make yourself small against the canvas of the sky. You will then touch eternity, where you become a part of the entire universe, dreaming. Oh my God, you know what else I'm thinking about now? It's crazy. We got this song by Gucci Mane, Kodak Black, and Bruno Mars called Wake Up in the Sky. Okay, and like this octopus is here in the sky, floating, like mysterious, enigmatic, very cool energy, like, but very intelligent. You know, octopi are super intelligent creatures. And a lot of people like wonder if they're aliens and stuff. But this card is supposed to teach you like about destiny. Okay. It says, let go of the limited notion of fate in which you are a powerless puppet. You are a powerful nomad on the map of destiny. There are destinations on the map, but you choose the route, the terrain, and the details. These pieces of the story are born from your point of attraction, your inner magnetism. Just as there are many stars to explore, there are many avenues of experience. And that's what I was saying, is like your experience is going to be inherently different from anybody else's on this planet, and you have something to say. You can choose one or many avenues of experience. You can choose to stand still and look at nothing. This signifies wishes being fulfilled. Okay? This also is saying like you might want to consider looking at your natal chart. If you're into astrology, there could be some like astrological important ideas in your natal chart if you're not familiar with that. And the natal chart service I like to use is called cafeastrology.com. I love this. So yeah, having like a unique intelligence is going to be really special to you, and honoring like the uniqueness of your journey is going to be really special to you. Okay, let's see. What do we have here with the alchemy? We've got sulfur. The only thing I know about sulfur is that like it smells weird. I know that it's like in like hot springs and stuff, and that people say that it smells like rotten eggs or whatever. So yeah, let's look into sulfur. All right, so this says evaporation, up and out, both and. On an esoteric level, sulfur is the first of what is known in alchemy as the tria prima, or the three primes. Along with salt and mercury, it makes up a threefold phenomenon that symbolizes the uniting of soul, sulfur, body, salt, and mind, mercury. On a tactile level, sulfur is responsible for both the off-putting smells and the therapeutic properties of a mineral bath. It soothes and it stinks, literally. To understand sulfur is to embrace a both-and mentality. Don't be discouraged if the meaning of this card seems to evaporate before your eyes. For now, keep in mind that what is gross contains beauty, and what is beautiful contains its own demise. Sulfur's job is to push the geyser up and out, dissipating the pressure. Don't be surprised if what appears to suck or stink soon becomes a great gift. Ooh, yeah, so what I was saying earlier is like, this might be something that like when you were younger, it was a gift that maybe you weren't that great at, but like you really enjoyed, and so you didn't actually put the time in to practice it or something like that, right? But the idea of evaporation is very interesting because stars are balls of gas, right? They're very, very far away. The light travels at a speed so that we can see it here on Earth, but the star that the light is coming from may actually already be gone for all we know. So that's the same thing with like music and books, you know. Music, books, pieces of art, they can live on for long after the artist has passed away. And they can carry and travel through time. And they can give information or pleasure or interest to the people who see them at any date in the future, right? So, you know, life is ephemeral. And we're here for a very short time. We get to experience this and then we're gone. Poof, right? Feeling your feelings is one of the most important things you can do with this life. And being able to express those feelings, being able to express about your life, you know, they're like memoirs and biographies and stuff. And being able to talk about the things that happen to you, it can be very painful at first. And like you might not be very good at it at first, but it can, with hard work, you can enter into your zone of genius here, okay? I love this for you. I love it. All right. To go deeper, visit or look up the Sulphur Cauldron in Yellowstone National Park. You can ponder the red lion. And I don't know what, so this is from the Alchemy Guidebook by Kim Kranz with The Wild Unknown. I don't know what the red lion is, but I do know that in New York, and you guys chose the New York Tarot, there is a blues club, I believe it's called the Red Lion. And if you visit New York, you might want to go there. If you know blues music, if you like blues music, that could be a fun place to go. Yeah, on Bleecker Street. Okay, so it also says here, envision what is geyser like in your life right now. What needs to move up and out to be freed so it can evaporate. And you know what's interesting is like we have two different ways of looking at water here, right? We talked about the beaver and how they create a dam and how they, you know, can create a container for water so that they don't get overwhelmed and they can create a space to live, right? Here with the sulfur, it actually helps to explode that water through a geyser. And it's like gushing, 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 gushing. I think part of your zone of genius is learning when to let it gush, when to control it, and how to, put those gushing feelings that you have into structure, and how to make them understandable for the people who you are trying to express yourself to, and the people who you will eventually attract. This is very powerful energy. I love this. Let's see here. This is a card from like a money deck that I got from Etsy, and it usually does say like career information on it, or it just has like money messages on it. I have not seen this card, so I don't know what it's going to say. We'll see what it says. Zone of Genius, here we go. Money Manager. Okay, hey. This card could indicate your career or finances could take a giant leap forward. So once you reach into your zone of genius, you may find that you make a lot more money. Consider careers in money management, banking, accounting, or anything in finance. You can expect a happy outcome when it comes to your finances. All right, so I love this card because even though we've been talking a lot about like using your words and being able to express things in different ways, money is just an energy. And I think your zone of genius could also be when it comes to money, also is an energy that evaporates. It can evaporate very, very quickly. It's supposed to be in circulation, right? So some people will spend money like a geyser where it's just gushing. It's like they got a hole in their pocket and it's just running out. And some people are very into saving and conserving and putting their money away in protected spaces like a beaver would do with the water in the dam. So I think part of your zone of genius could also be finding structured ways to deal with money, to talk about money, to work with money for yourself and potentially for other people. You don't have to be a starving artist. And I think also this money manager thing here is going to let you know that when you reach your zone of genius, especially if it is in the arts, you can find ways to be smarter about your money. You can find ways to make money, to keep money, to save money, and that not all forms of art lead to starvation, lead to destitution, lead to poverty and being in the poorhouse, okay? So this to me, your zone of genius is learning how to be your most authentic self with your art, but also how to have the money that you're looking for. And I mentioned earlier about like the salesperson, right? I said like maybe you have the gift of gab and you use your money, or you use your gift of gab to like be a salesperson, right? Instead of being like a poet or whatever it is that you maybe wanted to do and with your artistic side or your creative side. And so, maybe you're really good at that, but you also should find a way to use your gift of gab for your artistic side and take what you've learned from being a salesperson to go and be the artist that you want to be. That message is not going to be for every single person watching this reading, but I think that you get the example that I'm trying to say. Again, you don't have to be a starving artist if you learn more about the language of money, because money truly is a language. If you learn more about the language of money, you'll be able to control it a lot better. And this is all about control. I'm getting very much temperance here. In the temperance card, I don't know if it's going to come out, but in the temperance card, in the traditional Rider-Waite version, you'll see like an angel pouring water between two cups. And it's like they are, manipulating the water and mixing the water in different ways. And I'm seeing that here, between like the geyser and the dam. You're finding the balance. You're finding the way to mix these energies here. I love that. Okay, I think it's time for us to get the tarot out. You may need to, in your zone of genius, be better with like your budgeting. You may need to be better with learning about finances, writing about finances, and things like that. Quick little shameless plug. I actually have a like abundance companion journal that you guys can purchase. I'll put the link down in the description. It can help you a lot if you're interested. All right, interesting. Let's see. The New York Tarot. Let's see, pile 2. What is blocking them? What is keeping them from their zone of genius? What's holding them back from their zone of genius in pile 2? Spirit, what's holding pile 2 back from their zone of genius? The Sun. And we got that here on the side. Normally I don't take sideways cards, but I am going to put it upright, but I'll keep it sideways. This to me either means that you are wishy-washy on your artistic side. You might indulge in your artistic side, but you might not take it seriously. And then the other thing that I'm thinking of could be like if you have children, if you have a family, or it could be like the spotlight, because we do have stars here too, right? The Sun is also a star. That is a movie. That's the name of a movie. Ooh, okay. So in the Identifiers, we got this whole thing about like love on the run, or like two lovers kind of like running away from either each other or from hardship or whatever, right? And in that movie, The Sun is also a star. Yara Shahidi and this like super handsome guy, they meet the day before her family is about to get deported, or like the day before her family is about to get deported. And her family ends up not on the run. They're not like running from the law, but like the two of them are running around New York City, New York energy. They're running around New York City. But it is a beautiful love story. And if you haven't seen it, you might want to watch it. I'm now also thinking about The Fault in Our Stars too, because, ooh. That's weird. My hearing like in my left ear just kind of went out. That was so random. I'm fine. I can hear again, but it just like randomly went out. I don't know what that's about. Okay. But yeah, you might be afraid of the spotlight. That could also be an issue for you, being perceived. And especially like with the sulfur here, like you might be afraid of being perceived as like being shitty or like as sucking at what it is that you want to do. And the only way to get better at something is to do it. Okay, so you just kind of have to suck it up and just go for it. The Star, girl, I can't make this up. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. It's the Star. Okay, you have a lot of hope. I think you have a lot of hope. For some of you guys, you might be interested in fame. Okay, fame, isn't that like another New York thing? Like, I don't know, not only like people being famous and living in New York, but I think there was like a TV show called Fame about kids who went to like a performing arts high school or something like that. I don't know. I think you have a lot of hope about this. You have a lot of dreams about it, but yeah, I'm just getting that you're like maybe not taking it seriously, or you think it's like farther away maybe than it actually is or would be. The Five of Wands here holding you back. Yeah, lack of focus. You might have a lot of talents. Okay, you might be very talented, and you might have a hard time kind of picking one talent to stick with, picking one thing to focus. What's so interesting is like water keeps coming up. This is a water tower here, like the beaver would make, right, with a dam. And then this here is like a waterfall, kind of, we were talking, geyser shoots water up, waterfall, brings water down, but it's free flowing water either way. So yeah, that balance between knowing when to free flow and when to contain is definitely one of the things holding you back. But yeah, you might just have too many different interests and you haven't been able to focus on one, or there could be other people who are kind of competing for your attention and you're not able to put the attention on yourself and what you want. Oh, okay. Well, I say it with your chest, Spirit, so I'm not going to take a card that flipped over and didn't flip back. So Page of Cups. This immediately, immediately what I thought of was unapologetic. I think you're afraid of living unapologetically, okay? And the fact that this little girl is at the beach, we have more water there, but we actually can't see the water. She's here like on Coney Island. We actually can't see the water anywhere, but we know she's at the beach. And I think that you are like a little bit sandy when it comes to it. Yeah, I think that you've got like a little bit of irritation in your sensitive places and you're not doing what you need to do to flush that out. Like, when you go to the beach and you get sand in your beach bottoms, and you need to like go take a shower afterwards to flush everything out. I think that like a shower, using the water here again is sorry, pile 2, my camera died and I didn't realize it. So we did actually end up getting one more card, but I'm going to go back to what I was talking about with the Page of Cups. Using the water as, you know, the emotional metaphor that it is. If you don't flush out, you know, take a shower, wash yourself after you go to the beach, like you're going to have sand irritating you everywhere. So you have to use your emotions as a way to flush out all of the irritation that's happening in the sensitive parts of your soul and the sensitive parts of your psyche. And I think that your creativity, because water represents creativity as well, and your intuition and all of those things, you can use those as ways to wash away the emotional irritants that are bothering you. So keeping a journal could help for sure, but just expressing yourself and finding the balance between like gushing and super containment is going to be your zone of genius, okay? Especially if you are afraid of the spotlight. I think that that is also an issue here because, you know, the beaver dam keeping things protected, the sulfur helping to just spew everything out into the world, there's this idea of like feeling overexposed. And I think that you don't want to be or feel overexposed. And so finding a balance between like your privacy and being open with your emotions and with your work and your projects is going to also be part of your zone of genius, okay? When we pulled the Emperor out, you know, this just made me think that you may not know the business side of whatever your artistic endeavor is. So like if you're a painter, you may not know how to handle the business side of the art world and how painting acquisition actually happens, or how, you know, gallery shows happen, or how to deal with art collectors or things like that, or how much your work should be priced, or, you know, how to deal with taxes on things like art or exporting art or whatever it is, you know, from the country to send to a client in another country, or how to take commissions or whatever. Like there's so many different things that go with running an artistic business, and there are lots of resources out there. If I can think of or find some resources, I can always put them in the description box for you if that would be helpful. And of course, again, I do have that abundance journal that I think would also be helpful for you, pile 2, if you're interested in purchasing it. I'll put the link down below as well. But if you're a writer, you should know the ins and outs of the publishing business. There's so many ways now to self-publish these days, and so you should know how to do that. If you are a musician, you know, the music industry, I was just about to say it's in the toilet. That's not really true, but there are so many ways now that you can get your music out there and be an independent artist. And, you know, if you're like looking to have like a deal and you want to be signed or whatever, like there are ways to do that too, but you just need to know about the music industry. And like I'm thinking right now about Young Dolph, R.I.P., loved him, Memphis rapper. You know, he owned all of his own masters, and he very much knew that music was a business, and so he was able to do what he needed to do to like keep the rights to his music, and now his family is able to, you know, move forward that way. And same thing with Nipsey Hussle, right? There are different ways for you to be aware of how money moves within the industry, within the art industry, because it is a business, right? We often think about artists as starving, and that's just because many of them do not know how to run the business of being an artist. And there are so many different ways to do it, but you have to know how to do that. And that's what's holding you back. When you're in your zone of genius, you will have that skill. So you need to learn as much as you can about the business that you're looking to get into. And I know that you have a lot of different interests and a lot of different talents. You might be what they call a multi-hyphenate. You might be really great at a lot of different things. We talked about zones of excellence. You might be really great at a lot of different things. But in order to find your zone of genius, I think you need to focus on one thing, okay? And focusing on that one thing, find out how people make money from doing that. You know, if it's poetry, that goes along with the publishing aspect, right? How do people become a famous poet? How do certain poets make money from their poetry and others don't, right? Yeah, so you have what it takes There's no question about that. And I think that you're either competent or excellent in a lot of the different talents that you have, but you need to focus on one of them. And even if you're just putting in like 10 minutes a day towards honing that talent, then that's going to be very helpful. But you definitely need to learn how to run the business. Okay. That's very, very important. Yeah. I think some more cards maybe want to come out. Actually, no, they don't. But I just got really drawn to the actual tarot deck. New York itself could be really significant for some of you. Okay. It could be really significant for some of you. I know that's not going to be for everybody because we have people here from all around the world who are going to be watching this video. But for some people, New York City itself could be either an inspiration or it could be a place where you could find a lot of success. Okay. Yeah, I think you also need to read the news more. That could be an issue for you. You might be really uninformed of what's going on in the world. That could also be holding you back. All right, pile 2, I think that's it for your reading. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I hope that it resonated with you. And if you are an artist of some kind, or you want to start some sort of artistic business or get into the business, I would love to hear about it. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below so I can hype you up. But yes, you definitely, we got star twice, okay? You've got so much potential. Yeah, I love this for you. All right, I'll see you later. Bye, pile 2. Hey there, pile 3. Welcome to this reading about your zone of genius. We are going to do our identifiers first, of course. If you want to skip this part and go straight to the reading with the cards, there's another timestamp down below, just labeled pile 3 reading. So you can go ahead and click that. I do want to give just like a little intro to talk about zone of genius, what that means. I mentioned this in the intro to the video, but I'm going to mention it again. There is a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He is a psychologist, and he talks about how most people live their lives in one of 4 zones. We've got the zone of incompetence, where it's like you don't know how to do something. There's the zone of competence, where you know how to do it and you're like decently good at it. There's the zone of excellence, where you have mastered something and you're really good at it, but you're still not fulfilled for whatever reason. And then there's the zone of genius, which is where you have complete fulfillment. You've mastered whatever it is that you're doing, and you are able to take huge steps, not only in your own fulfillment and your own happiness in your own life, but you're also able to help others as well through your gifts and your talents. And usually the zone of genius is usually something that you are naturally gifted in, even if you haven't practiced or you haven't become like well versed in it. Like you may have a natural, and likely do have a natural gift in it as well. So we're going to put these cards to the side for now. We're going to go ahead and get our identifiers out and get into it. Let's find out who's in pile 3. All right, while I'm doing this, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe so we can be closer. Spirit, who's in pile 3? The people who chose the like burgundy Rider-Waite tarot for the zone of genius reading. Who are my pile 3 people? Who's in pile 3? Anybody else in pile 3? All right. Pile 3. Let's see. The way that these work is that whatever's on these slips, at least one of them should be like familiar to you, significant to you somehow. It could have shown up in your life even in just like the past couple of days. We got Helena by My Chemical Romance. So like that, for example, could be like your favorite song, or maybe it was your favorite song back in the day, you know, when MCR was like really popular or whatever. You might have just heard it recently and, you know, it took you back or whatever. Could have just shown up in passing in your life at some point recently. The Climb by Miley Cyrus. That is a song from the Hannah Montana movie. Same thing. Randall Park, he's an actor. You might know him from like Always Be My Maybe or Fresh Off the Boat. He's very handsome. We've got Heart of Dixie, RB. RB stands for Rachel Bilson, but it also makes me think of Arby's, like the fast food restaurant. But Heart of Dixie is a TV show that Rachel Bilson starred in about a doctor who moves from New York to Alabama and works at like a family practice. It's very cute. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest it. I loved it. Painting. So maybe you are a painter, maybe you're thinking about getting a painting, maybe you went to like a paint and sip recently, or you're planning to, maybe you like went to a gallery to like look at paintings, something like that. John Wick, that's the franchise starring Keanu Reeves where he plays an assassin who gets pulled back into the game. A Fine Romance by Judith Sills, PhD. That is a book. It's like a sociological book talking about courtship from meeting to marriage. DJ Tamby and Ink Master. So DJ Tamby is a tattoo artist. He's won Ink Master 3 times. I believe he's actually about to come back, at least at the time of filming this, he's about to come back as a judge for like season 14 or season 15 or something like that. But yeah, you could be really into Ink Master, or you could be really into tattoo culture, or you might have like been watching Ink Master recently. You could be a big fan of his, or of Ink Master just in general, or something like that. Gloria Delgado Pritchett, she is played by Sofia Vergara on Modern Family. She is like kind of like a trophy wife, housewife figure, but she does have her own business where she sells sauce. Yeah. Ballet Slippers, OPI. So ballet slippers, of course, are the shoes for dancing, but that's also the name of a nail polish color. It's like very pale pink by OPI. So you might have like gotten a manicure recently, or you might have like gone to the ballet recently or something like that. Or ballet could have been like a really big part of your life at some point, something like that. Uninvited by Mallrat. I also want to say like you might favor like a pale pink color. That might be like your favorite color, something like that. Yeah, Uninvited by Mallrat, that's a song. She's an Australian pop artist. Flight 99 by Taku, Matt McWaters, and Masego. Cheers, Drink to That by Rihanna. Justin Timberlake, so he's a musician and an actor. So you might have like listened to some of his music recently, including the music with NSYNC, or you might have like seen him acting in something recently, like watched one of his movies or seen him on SNL or something recently. We Used to Be Friends by the Dandy Warhols. That's a song. It is the theme song for Veronica Mars, that TV show starring Kristen Bell. Gabrielle Union, beautiful actress. She was in a lot of stuff, including like Bring It On. I want to say A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Many other things. She's married to Dwayne Wade. We've got 12/12 here, so that could be a date, like December 12th. It could be a time. You might be seeing 1212 around a lot. Stuff like that. The number 8, that could be August, which makes me think of Leo and Virgo. You could have 8 people in your family. You could live on 8th Street, the 8th floor of your building. You could have, like, your address could be number 8, something like that. Yeah. Sufjan Stevens, he is a musician. You might know that song that he did for that movie, Call Me By Your Name. Meditation. Okay, so you might be really into meditating, or might be learning about meditating. Hyphy by Federation, that's a song from the Bay Area, like San Francisco Bay Area. Nashville, so you could be from Nashville, traveling to Nashville. You might have lived in Nashville for a long time. We've got, or maybe somebody was talking about Nashville recently around you. Tupac, Keep Your Head Up, that's a song. Ring, that could be, you know, like a ring on your finger. It also makes me think of the Ring doorbell, like the video camera doorbell. Evermore by Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver. It's a song. Familiar, so just as like these should be familiar to you, I'm also thinking now about like a witch's familiar, how they have like a pet that's supposed to be like their animal companion / spirit guide. And then we have the number 1, so that's January, which is Capricorn and Aquarius. You could be an only child. You could live on First Street, apartment number 1, something like that. 1 could be your lucky number, something like that. All right, pile 3. I'm gonna go ahead and clear the table and write these in my tarot journal, and I will see you at the reading. Hey there, pile 3. What's up? What's up? We're trying to find your zone of genius here today. We're gonna get into the tarot a little bit later. This is mostly gonna be used to figure out the tarot piece, at least, what is holding you back from being in your zone of excellence. And I picked pre-pulled some oracle cards that are going to actually tell us what your zone of excellence actually is. So we're going to go through those first, and then we'll do the tarot later to find out why you haven't been able to enter into your, I'm sorry, I keep saying zone of excellence, it's zone of genius. Why you haven't entered into your zone of genius yet. So let's go ahead and find out. Pile 3's zone of genius, Spirit. All right, we've got child nature. So this could also be like nature child, because there are a few different children in this archetypes deck. This is the Caroline Miss archetypes deck. All the decks that I'm using are going to be listed below in the description box. I am loving this girl's braids, and she's hanging out with like a little rabbit. Very cute. This says friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits. And then shadow attribute is tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. Interesting. All right, so that is the archetype of your zone of genius. Let's find out more. This is supposed to be like an animal spirit. The dove. Ooh, so we're getting like very peaceful energy here, you know, communing with nature, being at peace with the world and those around you. Some of you may be like vegetarians. That, of course, does not have to apply to everybody who chooses this pile, but you might be really conscious about like sustainability, how you eat, what you put in your body. Even if you're not a vegetarian, you might be into like thrifting or recycling, stuff like that, that actively helps the earth. And you could also be into standing up for people who are unable to use their own voices. So whether that is animals themselves or the environment itself, like you could be into environmental activism or, you know, against animal testing for things like makeup and stuff like that. But you also might be into helping disenfranchised people as well. It's making me think a little bit about Erin Brockovich. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie starring Julia Roberts, but it's based on a true story. And Erin Brockovich was a water activist who found out that a chemical company was poisoning the water supply in a part of California and had been getting people who lived there sick for a really long time, and kind of, I don't want to say like scamming people out of their lands and like the value of their homes and stuff like that, in addition to getting them sick. And, you know, a lot of people that got cancer and stuff like that. But if you haven't seen that movie, it might be one that you're interested in. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. All right, so let's go ahead and see like the hidden aspects of your zone of genius, the more subconscious parts. All right, we've got clover, number 2. So yeah, clover is obviously a plant, but whenever we hear clover, a lot of the time we think of like 4-leaf clover or being very lucky or something like that. So overall, I feel like you just have a really peaceful and kind of chill vibe. There's like this fairy around here. Fairies make me think of like raves and stuff. I don't know why. You might be into like electronic music or into like hiking or spending a lot of time in nature, camping, something like that. Yeah, I just thought about like Burning Man, things like that. Music festivals that are like outside, outdoors. But I do want to read from the book. This is from the Lunar Nomad Oracle. So I'm gonna go ahead and read from the book there. All right, we've got luck, new beginnings, opportunity, and quick action. You're searching through a grassy meadow. That sounds exactly like what the nature child would be doing. You're searching through a grassy meadow, luscious flowers blooming, warm sun beaming down, and butterflies tracing dizzy circles around your head. Suddenly you stop. Looking down at your feet, nestled in a sea of green and vibrant color, you discover an emerald four-leaf clover. The clover has long been regarded as a lucky omen. To find one of these rare talismans is a fortuitous event in itself. The clover is an enticing and auspicious omen, a key to the world of fairy. When the clover appears, a gift or opportunity has materialized out of thin air to grace you with some small spell of good fortune. Both elusive and fantastical, the clover fairy weaves her magic all about you, bringing you something enticing and unexpected. Her magic may only last a few hours or even just seconds. Her sense of timing is humorous. See, her clock has no hands. So expect the unexpected. The clover is an invitation to be filled with wonder. The clover always appears when you least expect it. This card plays with time and attention. It can bring small blessings or something a bit more perplexing. Fairy magic has mysterious ways of working. What appears to be an inconvenience can become a big blessing. At the same time, a gleaming treasure can fade to dust in the blink of an eye. I'm really getting like festival magic. I don't even know why I just said festival magic. I'm getting like festivals and parties like very, very strongly. I have no idea what festival magic is, but for some reason that came out really strongly. It reminds me of like when, you know, like a festival pops up, or even like a carnival or like a circus or something like pops up in the middle of like a field, or, you know, like a fairgrounds or whatever. And it's there for like a few days, and then they break everything down and they leave and it's gone, right? It's just there for like a moment in time, and everybody's there dancing, happy, having fun, enjoying themselves, playing games, whatever it is that they're doing. And it's just like all of the things that you would imagine the fairies do, right? And then it's gone. And now that I'm thinking about doves, right? Like magicians use doves oftentimes in some of their tricks, where they're like, doves will like fly out of the hats or whatever, right? So, and rabbits too, they pull a rabbit out of the hat. So yeah, I'm getting like magician energy here. I'm getting showmanship and something like that's there for a little while and then it's gone the next day, right? So, but like in a great way, not like in a you left me kind of way, but more like a we all came together to do something really fun, and then the moment passes and we move on, right? Yeah, the clover appears to interrupt the monotony of life, imparting the wisdom and joy of being in the moment. Interesting. The clover can signify finding something when you aren't even looking for it. You could have a strange sensation of it finding you rather than you finding it, so be ready to get caught off guard. Losing a sense of place and time are all hallmarks of the clover. Forever can happen in a few seconds, and vice versa. The clover has a way of playing with time. Time can get lost, time can stretch out, or maybe something will happen in the nick of time. The clover has a way of accomplishing tasks in a manner you might not know, expect, or even want, yet the end result will serve you well. You could call these blessings in disguise, a little magical joke. However small these blessings, they come in quick and unexpected. The smallest things can bring joy. A few dollars won on a scratch ticket, running into an old friend, finding your purchase had an additional discount. Sweet little reminders to invite the unexpected. Okay, so something that also came to me was this whole thing about like finding stuff. You could be really good at finding things or finding people, making connections between people, but I'm thinking more of like missing persons or missing items, like private investigating, okay? I know that that's like really random and different, but also like maybe like booking people, like booking agent or something like that. I'm just getting like a lot of like random ways that this could fit into your zone of genius. And of course, everybody's zone of genius is not going to be the same even within this pile, but hopefully some of the things that I say could like spark you to find your zone of genius. All right, let's see. What do we have here? All right, this is from the Alchemy deck by Kim Krans, The Wild Unknown. we've got the red and white rose. Immediately when I got this, as soon as I turned it over, I started thinking about tattoos. And, you know, we did get DJ Tambi from Ink Master in the Identifiers. If you didn't watch the Identifiers, you're welcome to go back and watch them. The timestamp is listed down below for this pile. But this just reminds me of like a tattoo style drawing. It's not exactly like that, but snakes and roses, you know, they tend to go together a lot in tattoo imagery, especially like traditional tattoos. So I just found that to be really interesting. And the red and white rose, let's see what that is supposed to be about. This says vital force, arising, awakening. In the laboratory, the merging of red and white is an exquisite moment. It means something is coming to life before the alchemist's eyes. The pristine white of the rose is not threatened by the blood red pigment. Their mixing does not make pink. Rather, each color remains vibrantly itself, expressing its message. Like the rod of Asclepius, representing health and vitality, the floss sapientum appears to signify the awakening of the physical as a gateway to the spiritual. Without the body, spiritual teachings remain conceptual, yet not yet integrated into the everyday. This card encourages the alchemist to honor the body as a temple each and every day, observing it, listening to it, mining it for information and guidance. At its height, this card signifies a mastery, a uniting of body to serve the soul's purpose, as seen in the like of dancers, athletes, and during the birth process. In esoteric yoga practices, one may understand this card as Kundalini rising, or the activation of what in Sanskrit is called the Ida, Pingala, and Shushumna nadis. To go deeper, view Rashid Johnson's Anxious Red drawings from 2020, and to ponder a white rose becoming red. The white rose becoming red is very interesting because that is very similar to something that is said in the Alice in Wonderland books, where the Queen of Hearts really likes red roses, and some of her, and I guess this was in the movie too, some of her servants, I guess, they're like cardmen, they accidentally planted white roses, and they have to paint the roses red in order to make the queen happy. Like, they don't want her to know that the roses were ever white, so they're painting them red. So that could resonate with somebody. I'm not entirely sure like what the significance is here for this reading quite yet, but I immediately thought that. I'm seeing Tad, Rosa, Mel, and Apibus on this card. So those could be people's names. I'm sure that that's Latin. I don't know what those mean in Latin. But yeah, you could be like a really good party planner or something. That is just coming to my mind here. All right, let's see, like weddings, festivals, parties in general, events, that kind of thing, especially if they are outdoors. You don't have to be outdoors, but especially if they are outdoors. All right, we got two cards here from this money deck, and I haven't seen them. I don't know what they say, but I'm hoping that they're going to help you to find a direction to put your zone of genius so that you can be prosperous from it. So let's find out. All right, we got emotions. Ooh, with a little red ring, a little red heart ring. That's cute. This says, your emotions are affecting your finances. You're paying too much attention to your love life and ignoring your career. Earn money doing something that you love, or a dream job might be offered to you. So yeah, I think that you thrive in a space where not only love is involved, like I was talking about weddings and stuff like that, but also where you're able to actually have fun doing what it is that you like to do. You know, I think that not everybody sees work as an opportunity to have fun, but your zone of genius is going to allow you to have a lot of fun. We have here The Office. Ooh. Think of the greater good than oneself to achieve a better outcome. Consider careers in administrative or management roles. Manage your time better and or delegate tasks to be more productive. All right, so something that's coming to me right now. I think it's kind of interesting that we got like nature child and clover and all this talk about being in a field, and like there's a lot of plant energy here, right? With the rose too. So it's interesting that you have like all these plants and stuff. And then we get this card here about the office. So I think in your zone of genius, you're going to be able to balance your love for all things nature and creative within nature with the more administrative tasks that go along with like running a business or running an event in a really administratively sound and tight way. Like you're going to be able to figure out, let's give the example of like a wedding or a festival, right? If you specialize in festivals and you want to make sure that like you have all the permits in place and that all of the vendors are, going to be set up in the right way and everything's up to code, and that any taxes that are collected are being collected properly and any taxes that are paid out are being paid out properly. I think that you're going to be able to balance your administrative side with all of the fun things that you like to do that allow you to create these really special moments for people. Moments that like are there 1 minute and then gone, the next day. Just like, a wedding is supposed to be like a day or maybe like a weekend. That is a really special time in somebody's life. And then like once it happens, it's over and it's never going to happen again. Right. For a festival, like, yeah, it happens maybe every year, but it also happens over like a weekend and then it's over and that moment in time is gone. Right. So I'm really seeing that for you guys. I feel like you have a natural ability to give people what they want, even if it is in a way that's kind of unconventional, like thinking about the whole painting the roses red thing. Like you're able to fix situations for people. You know what they want, you know what they like, and you're able to fix situations for them so that everybody can like just have fun, stay calm, and things will be smooth and be peaceful. And you have a really comforting and nurturing ability. Some of you guys might directly like to work with animals, and I'm also getting the idea of like an animal shelter or something like that. And if you're able to work in an animal shelter and it's, one where you strive to keep the animals alive, right? You get like a kind of, hopefully you get a shorter period of time with them. Like they're there with you and you get to nurture them and make sure they're healthy, and then they get adopted and then they're gone and you may not ever see them again. So I feel like you have a really special ability to touch people's lives or animals' lives or those around you for like a short time, and then especially like in a very highly emotional situation, right? Like a wedding is a really emotional day. Festivals can be really emotional for a lot of people because a lot of them are on substances, and emotions can come out when that happens. But then also they're just really excited to be there, and they're excited to see like their favorite bands or to see their favorite performing artists or whatever, right? In like the animal shelter situation, that's really emotional for both the animals and the people who work there, because there's just so much love. Animals are very pure of heart for the most part, and you just want the best for them, and so you're always trying to do what you can to make sure that they have like the best place possible to live and the best family. And it's very emotional to do that kind of work. And so I think that you're really good under that kind of pressure, and you make sure that everybody has what they need and that everything is like on the up and up and everything looks right. And in your zone of genius, you'll be able to completely handle the administrative tasks of it as well. You're going to be able to balance these two things. The like straight up pen and paper analytical tasks, and also like the emotion that goes behind it. So I love that. I'm also thinking now about like galas and stuff like that, planning galas as like fundraisers and things like that. So especially if it is for some sort of like environmental cause or for animals or something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and get our tarot out to see what is holding you back at this time. From reaching your zone of genius. Why haven't you reached your zone of genius yet. All right, Spirit. Let's shuffle this one more time. All right. All right, first things first. What is that? The Four of Wands. That is like very clear festival and wedding energy, you guys. I can't make this shit up. But yeah, this is about like partying, having fun with friends, connecting with people. So you could be like very social. You could really enjoy going to those kinds of things. And you may have like a lot of connections. This is very good news already. We have to get a couple more cards up to see the full picture. So we got the Page of Cups here in reverse. Interesting. This could represent not wanting to grow up. This could be like a Peter Pan type of energy. You know, the Page of Cups is supposed to be learning about their emotions, learning about the emotions of others, delivering emotional messages, being open with their emotions. So this could represent either some stunted emotional growth on your part, or it could represent a disinterest in the emotions of others, okay? Whether that is all the time or some of the time, it could be like just not being super smart about how you deliver messages to people. And you know, we got this emotions card here, and so I think when you're in your zone of genius, you're going to be at your most emotionally intelligent. You know, emotional intelligence, also known as EQ, might be something that you want to look into learning more about in order to get into your zone of genius. You probably do already have some, or even like when you were a child, you might have been already really emotionally intelligent, but something may have happened along the way that could have caused a little bit of stagnation in that point, and possible Peter Pan energy. Okay, like Peter Pan meaning I won't grow up, the lost boys never wanting to grow up, that kind of thing. Okay. We've got the World here in reverse. Yeah, I'm getting this idea of like you thinking just like everything's fine and everything's going to be fine, and like I don't have to do anything, I don't have to say how I feel, you know, life is a party, and everything's gonna work out whether I do something right or not. And I think that that's holding you back. You know, we love a good little like delulu moment. You know, I know everybody on TikTok is talking about like be delusional, blah, blah, blah. And to a degree, I can agree and understand that. You know, I think like with the law of attraction, the more you think about something, the more you're going to attract it towards you. So like if you apply that to the whole delusional thing, I can understand where it's coming from. But at the same time, you can't just like do nothing. I think that if you have an idea or a thought or whatever that aligns with who you want to be in the future, you have to act on it. And I think that I'm hearing like Here for the Party by Gretchen Wilson. And I think you're probably a really fun person, and you know, you have a lot of fun around you, but there's also this like very deeply unapologetic piece about you, which some people might admire. You know, we all admire, for example, like Rihanna has her whole like unapologetic thing, and like we love that about her. But at the same time, like we don't know how the people in her real life generally feel about that, right? We don't know how they feel about that. And the people in your real life may want you to be more emotionally tactful sometimes, okay? So yeah. Five of Wands here in reverse. Interesting. So yeah, I think that you can go from situations that are like generally fine and where you have good connections with people, but then if something happens and you don't acknowledge it, or you act immaturely and you just kind of expect them to like get over it, or things to kind of go back to normal, without really doing like anything to fix it, then you have to, you know, figure out like a way to get over that, because it is going to cause conflict in your relationships. Okay, I'm definitely seeing that, because like we go directly from like the Four of Wands here to the Five of Wands here, and like what happened in between? Somebody didn't apologize, or somebody acted immaturely and didn't want to grow up and kind of expected to like brush things under the rug instead of being emotionally mature enough to go and like, say what needs to be said, okay? Do what needs to be done. And I think here, like the whole painting the roses red thing is coming back because when in Alice in Wonderland, they accidentally planted the white roses instead of the red ones. Like, yeah, okay, the queen is like notoriously mean and she's very overbearing. But the soldiers, they did what needed to be done in order to fix their mistake. Even if they thought it was irrational, even if they were scared, even if they, you know, it took them some extra work on their part, they did what needed to be done to fix the mistake, right? And I feel like you learning how to repair mistakes is going to be a big piece of getting to your zone of genius, because you have all these other really wonderful qualities about you, but sometimes you might not repair the mistakes that you've made, especially in your relationships and emotionally. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Yeah. This just makes me think again of socializing, partying, being friends again, living in abundance, that kind of thing. And I think that you do generally, like, you are able to get back to a good place with the people around you. Yeah, you might like to do like beach cleanups, that kind of thing. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. Thank you so much for sticking with me and for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy it. And don't forget to leave me a comment down below. See you later. Bye. What's up, Pile 4? Welcome to your reading. We're going to get our identifiers out first. If you want to skip this part, there's a timestamp down below that will take you directly to the reading where we get into the cards. So if you want to watch the identifiers, basically what they are, I'm going to go ahead and put the cards to the side for now. What the identifiers are these slips of paper. I'm going to swirl around in here, pull some out, and if any of them, even just one, resonates with you, if it is somehow significant to your life, whether that's now or in the past, or if it is showing up in your life, even if it's only in passing over the last few days, then that could mean that this reading is for you. All right, let's see. All right, let's go ahead and get our identifiers out. Spirit, the people who chose pile 4 with the Animal Totem Tarot to find out their zone of genius. Who are they? Who are my pile 4 people? Who are my pile 4 people? The pile 4 people. People in pile 4. While I'm doing this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to me so that we can be more connected, and then my readings will be even more specific to you. Spirit, who's in pile 4? Anybody else in pile 4? To find out what their zone of genius is in pile 4. Anybody else? Alright, cool. Alright, that's kind of a lot. We got kind of a lot here. I think this is maybe the most out of any pile. Alright, let's see. Here we have E equals MC squared. Very famous equation. Energy equals the mass times the speed of light squared. Monaco. Haterade. So you might have like heard somebody recently say haterade, or you might have like really liked to say that back in the day. Mike's Mike on YouTube, so you could be like a fan of the Mike's Mike channel. Or you might have like seen one of his videos pop across your timeline recently if you're not subscribed. Set It Off, Queen Latifah. So Set It Off is a movie. Queen Latifah starred in it. It's about a bank heist. Jada Pinkett Smith is also in there. Casino by Houndmouth. That's a song. Dealers in their bootlegs. Okay. Energy by Drake. I got enemies. Got a lot of enemies. Got a lot of people trying to drain me of my energy. All right, Los Angeles, California, blueberries. So maybe you really like blueberries, that could be your favorite fruit, or you might have had like a blueberry muffin or pancake or something like that recently, or you might be planning to make some this week, I don't know. Pranks, Punked. So Punked is a TV show where Ashton Kutcher was the host, and he would go around pranking other celebrities. So you might have like watched it recently, or might have maybe used to be like your favorite show. Or you might just really be into pranks, or you might have heard somebody talking about pranks recently. Clumsy by Fergie. Clumsy 'cause I'm falling in love. So in love with you. What About Your Friends by TLC. What about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Cheerleader by Omi. That's the Felix Jane radio edit. Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. I don't usually sing this much, but I just feel like singing it. Sexy Villain by Remy Wolf. Sexy Villain. Cheesy snacks. So maybe you really love cheesy snacks. That could be your favorite kind of snack. Or maybe you're eating some right now. Something like that. Lisbon. That's Portugal. Lisbon, Portugal. Nicki Minaj, Marilyn Monroe. So Nicki Minaj has a song called Marilyn Monroe, but this also could just be a reference to either of those two people. So like maybe you really love Marilyn Monroe, or maybe you heard somebody talking about her recently or saw some mention of her, or Nicki Minaj. Either way. Girlfriends, that's a TV show starring Tracee Ellis Ross as my girl Joan, an attorney in Los Angeles. It's set in Los Angeles. Chasing Liberty. That's a movie starring Mandy Moore where she plays the president's daughter. We've got Airbnb. All right, we have Teach for America. That's a teaching program for students who just got out of college. Catfish, the TV show. We have Neve Schulman and Cami Crawford. They are the hosts of that show, but you could have seen them like on Instagram or in an article or something. So it doesn't have to be within the context of Catfish. Ron and Tammy from Parks and Rec. I didn't specify if it was Tammy 1 or Tammy 2. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Earrings, so maybe you have like a really big earring collection, or you might have a lot of ear piercings. Matthew McConaughey, or you might have just like bought some earrings recently or something like that. Work from Home by Fifth Harmony. We could work from home. Oh, oh. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Throat chakra. Yeah, this is definitely more than any other pal got for sure. Honeybee by The Head and the Heart. Honeybee, do you imagine where our lives will lead? Ukraine. Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. That's also a movie, but they changed the title slightly to Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. Drama, so that could be just like general drama. It could also be, there's like a musical duo called Drama. And then it makes me think of, if you ever watched Entourage, the brother's name is Johnny Drama. Taste by Tyga featuring Offset. The Majesties by Tiffany Sao. That's a book. Bacon. Maybe you really love bacon. Or you could have eaten bacon recently. All Black Everything. Maybe you really like to wear all black, or black could be like your favorite color. The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. So we got The Gambler and we got Casino here. So big gambling energy. Maybe there's like some poker players in this pile or something. Counting Crows. That's a band. They have a lot of music. The one that's coming to mind now is from Shrek, Accidentally in Love. Real Love by Mary J. Blige. That's a song. Piano. When I Look to the Sky by Train. We've got The London, or just London, but The London is a song by J. Cole, Young Thug. And there's one other person on there who I keep forgetting. Travis Scott maybe? I don't remember who it is. I knew this one was going to come out. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He is actually in the movie version of Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. He plays the boyfriend or the love interest. Summertime in Paris by Jaden and Willow Smith. So this doesn't have to be that you heard the song. You also might have like been to Paris in the summer or recently or something like that. Amber, 311, Love is Blind Season 1, and then also just like Amber the color, or if you know somebody named Amber, maybe your name is Amber, but there is a song called Amber by 311. You might also have like Amber Incense or a stone or something like that. We have the number 6 here. I don't know why I wrote it on such a big piece of paper. So that could be like the month of June. You could have 6 people in your family. You could live on the 6th floor on 6th Street, apartment number 6. 6 could be your lucky number. You might be seeing 6s everywhere. Monopoly, that could be the game. It could also be a song by Ariana Grande. Or you might have just heard somebody use it like in context. And then we have George Clooney, another actor here. Alrighty then. Yeah, we've got a lot of identifiers here, so this is probably going to be a pretty big group. I'm interested to see about your zone of genius. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to write these down in my tarot journal, and I'll be right back. All right, pile 4, we're going to get into the reading now. I am actually going to do our pre-pulled oracle cards first. Right here. So we're going to set the tarot to the side. What we're investigating today is your zone of genius, which I explained it a little bit in the beginning, but I'm going to explain it some more now. And basically it is a space in your life where you have the skills, and usually it comes as a gift that you were able to express when you were younger. Could, I guess, also in some ways be called like your soul's purpose, but some people never make it to their zone of genius, and that's because they kind of tend to live in what's called a zone of excellence. So let's go through the different zones. The first one is the zone of incompetence, which is where you just don't know how to do something. The second zone is the zone of competence, which is where you know how to do something and you're decently good at it. The third is the zone of excellence, which is where you've mastered a certain skill and you might even use that as like a way to get by in the world, but it doesn't necessarily bring you joy, happiness, peace, and fulfillment. You're just really, really good at it. I'm thinking right now, like a lot of people excel at academics, but then like once they get to the real world, they don't really know like how to function or what to do. And so they just decide to like go back to school and keep going to school. I'm not saying that that applies to you at all, pile 4, necessarily. It might resonate for some and not for others. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest, but that was just an example. Zone of genius is where you have this innate aspect of yourself, of your personality, some sort of like deep understanding or gift that you've been given, and whether or not you got the chance to cultivate it throughout your life or not, it is still there. It's still a part of you. It's just something innate that you're talented at. And if you put in some extra time, work, and energy into it, then you could end up being very, very successful in this way, and you would find the fulfillment that you were missing by living in the zone of excellence. So we're going to use the tarot later on to figure out like what's holding you back from entering into your zone of genius, but we're going to use these cards here to actually discover what your zone of genius is. So we've got this archetype card first, and it says victim. Interesting. And I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. This could be like that you work with people who have befallen tragedies or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself are a victim. Let's read what it says. It says, light attributes prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Shadow attributes, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. All right, so yeah, we're gonna figure that one out a little bit later. All right, let's see. This is an animal card from the shaman box. It's going to give us more qualities associated with your zone of genius. And you have rat. Interesting. Shrewdness, restlessness, adaptability, resourcefulness, survival, sense of adventure, frankness, self-assuredness, cleverness. So remember I said you might end up working with people who have been victimized in some way, and it did just say survivals. I know a lot of the time people who have made it through really horrible circumstances could use the terminology of survivors. So you may end up working with people who have that kind of experience in their life or in their background. You may have that kind of experience in your life or your background, and it may have made you extra empathetic towards people like that. Rat, as soon as it came out, made me think of like ratting someone out, which is not always a bad thing. I don't want anybody to take that negatively. It could be, working to find the truth behind certain things, or that you may like be a witness to certain things, and you are the person who kind of like holds the truth for people and are able to like bring things to light. Rats are really good collectors. They're really good at collecting stuff. So that may also be of relevance to you guys as well. All right. So this is from the Lunar Nomad Oracle. It's going to help us with the more subconscious aspects of your zone of genius. And we have here shears. Interesting. This number is 10, so that may have significance to you somehow. But yeah, the first thing that I thought of as soon as I saw shears was not necessarily like cutting fabric, but if you or anybody that you know has participated in some sort of self-harm, I definitely encourage you to get help. There are lots of helplines out there that could be of use to you, and you may even like be in your zone of genius working on one of those helplines. That might be something that you would be really good at, is helping people who are in crisis. And then it says resourcefulness here, and I talked about collecting things. I didn't even think about it in terms of resourcefulness, but rats being very resourceful, you could be a resource to people who are going through really tough times, who are suffering from self-harm, or who are in danger, physical danger, sexual danger, abuse, victims of abuse, things like that. And I feel from this pile that you guys are very empathetic towards people who have that kind of experience. This is an alchemy card. It's going to tell us like what kind of tools you can use in your zone of genius here. And we have leucosis, which is lightning. Interesting that there's a snake here on this card. Yeah. All right, so lightning, it immediately makes me think of like a thunderstorm, a stormy time, something happening really quickly also as well. You could be into healing people, helping people heal. I'm thinking about how not snakes but worms and certain lizards have the ability to like regenerate parts of their bodies. So like if you were to, for example, cut a worm in half or something like that, you would now have two worms because it would regenerate on the part where it was severed. Certain lizards, like if their tail falls off, they can regrow a new tail. Snakes, they do shed their skin, and so it's this idea of like, evolution into a new piece, like whatever is removed from you, being able to grow that back. And then shears also make me think of not only like seamstresses and cutting fabric, but also of like doctors and also chefs too. I know some chefs use kitchen shears and stuff like that, but thinking about doctors and operations and the operating table and stuff like that. Rat also is making me think of like the bubonic plague. I don't know how my mind is connecting all of these things, but rats are making me think about sickness and illness too, and so you might be somebody who can help heal people. We are living in like a post-COVID era, so maybe you're into healthcare of some kind. If it's not like mental health care or helping people who are victims of abuse, you might be in like physical care professions, or that might be your zone of genius, is helping people to heal from an illness. All right, so we got these two like money cards here. I don't know what they say. Some of them have like jobs on them and some of them have other stuff on them. So I guess let's just find out about your zone of genius and how you can find prosperity within your zone of genius and how you can feel fulfilled. Because as soon as I said prosperity, I was like, maybe, maybe prosperity, but I do think the fulfillment aspect is going to help. So we've got this one first, options, many doors, interesting. And that makes a lot of sense because there were a lot of people, if you watched the identifiers, this pile had more identifiers than any other pile. So I do think there's going to be a lot of people in this reading. who are represented here. So definitely there are a lot of options coming through, and I've already named several of them. But I think that whatever your zone of genius is, it will allow you to use your skills in many different ways, and you'll have a lot of like abilities to maybe travel to different places, like maybe like travel nursing or something like that. You might also be able to help people in their homes, I'm seeing, because we have like all these doors and stuff like that. It looks like it's like maybe doors like in a hallway in a house or something, right? This says many opportunities are becoming available for you, or you could be flooded by too many ideas. Do not get stuck in doubt when an offer presents itself. Seize the moment and create multiple streams of income. Interesting. All right, I think whatever your zone of genius is, you're never going to be desperate for work. I think that you'll always have something to do. Celebrate. Interesting. You've accomplished so much and will accomplish much more. Take some time off and celebrate your success. You deserve it. There may be an unforeseen increase in your income. All right, so I think that you could be helping people who are deep in a mentally negative space, learning how to celebrate life again after or during their recovery from whatever it is that they are holding back on, whatever it is that kept them in a negative space in life, whatever it is that hurt them, whatever kinds of like abuses that they've gone through. I think that you may have gone through something like that yourself, and learning how to celebrate life again and how to have community, how to have options, how to feel like, you know, your life isn't just cut off at the knees and that you can move forward is a really great space to be in. And all of the cards here, actually, I do think all of these cards go together, because we all have like either like yellow, black, white, beige energy in here. Of course there's green in these two cards, but like even like the yellow, the gray here, this is like white wine with all these twinkly yellow lights in the background. This is like a yellowish, brownish tinge. So is this one here, and so is this one. And sometimes when something really bad happens to you, it can kind of like suck all the color out of life. It can make things feel very dull. It can make people wonder like, what is the point? And it can feel like all of your whole future is different now, and maybe there is no future. And I think that you have the ability to help people realize that they have options, that their future still exists if they want it, and what it could look like, and that there's so much in the future that could be great that they could want to live for. You know, it makes me think about how, you know, we haven't even met most of the people who we're going to love yet, or who will love us. We haven't had all of those fun moments or funny moments. Like, we haven't laughed all the laughs we're going to laugh in our lifetime, you know? There's still more experiences and positive things and more fun to be had. And I think that you have the power to help people realize that, especially people who are deep in trauma or deep in a victim mentality. And even thinking here, like the light attributes prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others, right? It's a redefinition. And I talked about that with like the regeneration of like the worms and the snake skin and like the lizards and their tails and stuff. It's like you're redefining yourself for yourself after somebody else tried to define you or did something that maybe you felt defined you. And this could be how you feel, or it could be about how the people that you work with and the people that you help feel. Okay, so I mentioned like different hotline numbers and stuff like that. Like you might be one of the people on the other side of those lines, but there's a lot of different ways that you can help people who fall into this kind of space in life. There are so many different ways that you can do that. And I think that that's really awesome. All right, what's holding you back? Let's find out what's holding you back here. This is the Animal Totem Tarot. What's holding Pile 4 back from finding their zone of genius and from being in their zone of genius? We have here the Two of Cups. Interesting. That could be a relationship. What's holding pile 4 back from their zone of genius? There we go. We've got the King of Cups in reverse. Yeah, this to me looks like a bad relationship. The King of Pentacles in reverse. Death in reverse. 9 of Wands. Okay, so this could be somebody who either tries to get you to do their bidding for them, or that you've already left and are still healing from. And if you're healing from it, congratulations, that's awesome. If you're still in the relationship and you maybe want to leave, or you're trying to leave, like, I wish you so much strength and so much power. There are a lot of resources out there that can help you, but it does seem like there's a bad relationship here with somebody who not only is narcissistic, controlling, emotionally manipulative, wants to build off of your back, okay, and who maybe has, like, maybe you might be like living with this person or have some sort of like domestic arrangement with them. I think that they are just like mean. They could have some financial abuse as well going on here. Even if you are still in love with this person is holding you back. That's all I really have to say about that, because it's not like the Two of Cups here is in reverse. I think that you do still really care about this person. You might still have a lot of love for them, even if you're not together anymore. If you are together, you definitely could have just a very deep attachment to this person, even though they even though they don't treat you very well. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh. I don't mean to laugh at all. I was laughing at myself, and sometimes, like, when awkward things come up, it's just something that comes out. I think that this person might have certain ways of like restoring the relationship that makes you want to stay. Okay. And like I said, some of you guys might have stayed, and some of you guys might have already left and kind of made that final stand and realized that you could stand on your own 2 feet. Okay. This could have been a long cycle of like going back and forth with this person, for sure. I actually want to read the book and read this lightning card right now. And what's interesting is, like, I read this as lightning in terms of like the electricity lightning, but in the alchemy deck, it's actually the idea of like color getting lighter, or like leaving color being sucked out of something. So here we have perfectionism, facade, hesitation. The stage of leucosis is a complex topic in alchemy. On the one hand, it represents purification of the materials. On the other hand, it's the phase in which the alchemist may mistake the work as complete. On the surface, everything seems perfect, pristine, well thought through, and quite complete. In actuality, the alchemist has been tricked by their own facade of perfection. Their work has hardly begun. Righteousness and fear are the great errors of leucosis. This card arrives to remind us to get our hands dirty. No one is separate from or above anyone else. Rather, every alchemist is a kid in the laboratory, tinkering away with the elements of their life. No more fretting over your next move, fearing how others will perceive you. It's time to crack open, become who you are. The world needs your true colors. The blank canvas is a great example of leucosis. It's terrifying to start for fear of making a mistake. Today is the day. Make a mark, begin the work. They're saying ponder the wisdom of dawn, and you can look at Brancusi's sculpture Newborn from 1915. All right, so this is now making me think that no matter what stage you are in life or what stage you are in a relationship, you really never know what's going on behind closed doors. And like, everything could look perfect from the outside in somebody's life, but that doesn't mean that they aren't being victimized or being abused at home. And it just really reminds us that not only do we not judge a book by its cover, but also that things can be totally different than what you perceive them to be. And so then that's another reason like why we shouldn't be afraid necessarily of being perceived, because you could really end up changing people's opinions and thoughts about certain topics and about certain things. So whether or not your relationship appears to be perfect on the outside, if there are lots of problems on the inside that are making you feel less than, or making you feel like you're not able to come into your own self-actualization and your full authenticity, then there could be a better relationship waiting for you if you're able to open up your options and seek help or to move on from that. So in terms of, what's holding you back from being in your zone of genius, it just kind of feels like sometimes we choose the wrong people, and they may appear to have a certain kind of strength, and then they maybe use that strength against us, okay? And I keep being drawn to this hermit crab here. And I wasn't sure why at first, but hermit crabs, they carry their homes on their back. And it just makes me think of, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, you need to leave your relationship. You have free will. You can do whatever you want. So I'm not here to tell you that you need to leave your relationship. And some of you guys might be single. Some of you guys may have already left a relationship that was causing you harm or something like that. But knowing that you have what you need, and like that you have the strength that you need within you, and that you can go and heal from this pain, and you can be on your own, and you can stand on your own 2 feet. Like, I just want you to know that. And if you are able to overcome the difficulties here, whether you stay with this person or not, you really also have the ability to help other people who are either in similar situations to you or who have been hurt, abused, or victimized some way in the past. The shears here, this is like cutting people off. And I'm often also thinking about how in some ways when victims of abuse are trying to leave, especially if they like live with their abuser and there's, financial abuse and stuff like that happening too, they have often been isolated, or they can't figure out, how do I leave safely? And you might be really, really good at figuring out ways to do that, ways to cut ties with people who are dangerous to you, or ways to help other people cut ties with people who are dangerous to them. Okay? Rats are also very sneaky. All right? So, shrewdness, cleverness, that's really like coming out here as well too, because it's like, you take what you can, you take what you need, and you go where you can go, right? And they're really good at having hiding places. Rats are. So, if you need to like hide money or hide things or whatever it is, I think that you're going to have a really good grasp on how to do that, and you can help other people to do that as well too. And, I don't know if I was talking earlier about prosperity and stuff, and I got a feeling that was like not the right word to use when I was talking about getting into your zone of genius, because when you're helping people in this way, it's not to try and make a buck off of anybody. It's genuinely because you want people to be safe. You want them to be in a good place. You want them to get out of a bad situation. And I think that you're going to be very fulfilled by doing this type of work. Whether they are being victimized at the hands of another person or being victimized at the hands of a system in some way. Okay? Social work could be interesting to you, working in some sort of like a shelter, or maybe like a food bank, or like I was talking about the hotlines and things like that. There are lots of different ways that you can help people who are in really bad situations, especially when it comes to abuse and stuff like that. Psychiatric hospitals, things like that. So there are lots of different ways that you could do that. And if that's something that calls to you and calls to your heart, and that you've always been really good at comforting people and helping people find ways to get out of negative situations, then that is your zone of genius, and you can move forward and find a way to be fulfilled doing work like that. Even if it's just part-time or on the side or charity work or whatever, I don't know if that would make you feel as fulfilled, but if you were doing it full-time, I think you would feel really fulfilled in doing that. And again, like finding ways to help people celebrate life, I'm thinking about second guessing here. Okay? Second guessing kind of came up because I talked about how I was wondering if this card was in the right place, and I came to the decision that it was in the right place. And I think like second guessing not only your own intuition, but your abilities, and maybe like giving yourself time to think about something that maybe should have been really clear from the beginning. Also, having too many options can be like sometimes really negative. It can help, it can keep us kind of mentally paralyzed if we have too many options. And so, this may also be a message about not second guessing. I was wondering like about this death card here. I wasn't really sure about it, but death to me when it's in the reverse is about regeneration of something. It could also be like a second chance at something. And so if you keep giving somebody second chances who doesn't deserve it, then that could be holding you back. Okay. If you keep giving situations that don't deserve your time or attention second chances, then that can also be holding you back. Okay. This skull here in the back is like really weird, and it's kind of freaking me out. I mean, you guys can see it. I really don't know what's going on back here. It looks like it's a weirdly shaped skull. It makes me think of maybe like an elephant, or at first I was kind of thinking like Plague Doctor, but I know that's not really how the Plague Doctor mask looks, and I don't really know, but it's very creepy. I don't know why I felt the need to bring that up. I guess I could go read from the book on this one. All right, we've got cutting, severing ties, surprise, quick ending, break up, or surgery. Heavy old industrial sewing shears glint with almost ominous blades, forged by hand to last a lifetime of altering, removing, and transforming. Yards of fabric become elegant garments with a few precise cuts of the shears, or a finger can be nicked with carelessness, causing excruciating pain. Wielding the shears is a great responsibility that should be done with care and consideration. And as I say that, I'm thinking about like being in love, giving somebody your love, like that's a real gift, and it should be handled with care and consideration, but it can also cause excruciating pain if somebody is careless with your heart, and careless with your love, and careless with your life. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. Shears can be a weapon or a tool, but danger becomes opportunity with the right attention. The shears signify the power of intention and action. Conscious actions guided by clear intentions can lead to wonderful discoveries and possibilities, while lack of attention and awareness lead to detriment and danger. Holding the shears in your hand is a point of power, the power to create, destroy, harm, or heal. As you meet the sharp edge of the shears blades, you come in contact with your personal dark and light. Accepting the shadow self is an alchemical process of claiming power and perspective. Even when someone else holds the shears and circumstances seem bleak, remember you always have a choice. Yes, some circumstances are out of your control, but your reaction to experience is always under your rule. Healing will follow this extraction or alteration. Ask yourself, what can I cut away and release in my life? What can I do without? How can I trim away the excess? The shears appear as an invitation to clear out the old, or as a warning of possible danger. Notice what direction you are heading in and the overall tone of your present situation. If something hints at fear or danger, take notice. Do not wait to feel the pain if you can change the situation now. The vines that grow wild in the foreground of this card tell you that areas of your life can grow beautiful with intention, or left unchecked to become choking and invasive until the beauty is completely obscured and personal power is lost. Consider your environment. Are there people or situations that have been left to grow unruly? Is your vitality slowly being choked away? Use the shears to cut away and release these unruly vines. The strange skull in the background is a vestige of times long ago. It belongs to an extinct relic of ancient past. Bones of the past reveal the pain that creeps beneath the surface. Don't ignore the past, or you risk repeating the painful cycles again. Chronic situations on your journey are a wake-up call to a different way of being. If you find yourself following a pattern over and over again, it is time to cut away something limiting and oppressive. As ominous as the shears may seem, they always represent the fulcrum of power in your life. All right, yeah. I'm glad that I read that because I was picking up on most of the things already, but I just was not really sure about what that skull was, and this idea of like things from the past kind of cropping up again, even if you know that they're strange, they're wrong, they're unsettling, and yet you kind of allow them to stay in your life, then that's something that's holding you back and that you need to change. Okay? All right, Pile 4, I'm going to go ahead and leave this reading here. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout it. I hope that it resonated with you. If you made it all the way here to the end, please subscribe and go ahead and leave a comment down below to let me know more about your situation. And I wish you nothing but the best. See you later.